If everyone can quickly take 1 minute to introduce yourselves and tell us who has been your main mentor. I'll start with you, Chef.
My name is Karla Hoyos, and I've worked for the last 7 years with whom I consider one of my big mentors, Chef José Andrés.
Fantastic, thank you. Chef Bernardo?
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Bernardo Paladini, and I have the pleasure, the honor and the privilege to be the chef of Torno Subito. Torno Subito is the restaurant under the leadership of Chef Massimo Bottura that is going to open very soon here in Miami.
So, Mattia Agazzi, I'm the head chef in Osteria, Los Angeles. I worked for Massimo in the last 7 years. And I've been lucky enough that on top of work for Massimo, I work with the fantastic people around me, like Bernardo. We have the opportunity to work together. Thank you, Nidal and Anna, Carolina, all the helps, and for having us today. It's a pleasure. So yeah.
Wonderful. Chef Karla, can you tell us what restaurant you are currently working at a little bit?
I just opened my restaurant 8 months ago.
Congratulations.
The name is Tacotomia. It's an homage to my roots, to my grandmother's cooking, and to, I think, everything that has shaped me into who I am and what made me fall in love with cooking.
Congratulations, that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
So I'm going to start with Bernardo. Please tell us a little bit about mentorship to you and how you found your mentor.
So, I haven't checked on Google what does it mean. But yeah, I feel to find your mentor when you're a young explorer, it's the most important thing. At the same time, I think that mentor need young talent, that want to grow. So the most important thing in the personal growth is probably find the right person to work with, to find the right mentor. Talking about Massimo Bottura, is 13 years I'm working for him. Looks like yesterday I started, and if I look back, all the opportunity I had from Osteria Francescana. If I think back, that restaurant was listed for 2 times best restaurant in the world, and then having the opportunity to run the bistro of Osteria Francescana, Franceschetta, helping this guy and Karime to open in Florence the Gucci Osteria, and then going to Dubai to open the first Torno Subito, that at the time was the Massimo Force project out from Italy. And now the opportunity to be here in Miami, a city that I love, I'm working with beautiful people that I'm here, and I'm honored to be here talking about mentorship. I feel that Miami really need a spot like this, so thank you, Nidal, thank you all the Glutonomy team. We work together with Glutonomy every single day, taking care about Torno Subito. But today it's an honor for me to be here and talking about mentorship.
Well, it's an honor to be here on the stage with you. So wait, how did you find Massimo? Or did he find you?
Oh my God. I was a young chef in Rome, and I was sending email to Osteria Francescana office to get an internship. And they were replying to me, I'm so sorry, there are 2,000 people in a waiting list. I was keep trying and trying and trying, and one day they told me, I'm so sorry, Bernard, it's not possible. That's a list. Then I met Massimo in Rome for an event. I'm from Rome. I was working in Rome, and I told him, I really want to work there. I want to work for free. And he said, call this guy. This guy is Enrico. He's the director of all the operation. I said, oh yes, I did it. I called Enrico and I said, Bernardo, Massimo tell this to everyone. We can't. So I keep trying and trying and trying. And then, through a guy that is the director of a gastronomic academy in Rome, I found a way to go in Francescana.
Persistent.
That's everything started, yeah.
Amazing. And this was, you said, 13 years ago?
13 years ago.
Wow.
Exactly. I was 21.
Amazing. So I'm going to split up your stories a little bit. I'm going to go to you, Chef. How did you find Jose?
Well, first of all, I do think as mentorship a little bit different than... I think a mentor is a person that comes and teaches you what you want to be, but also what you don't want to be. So I think it's very important to not idolize mentors, because I think in a way of when we have a lot of mentors in life and they shape us into what we want to be and what we don't want to be, I go to, when I met Jose. The first time I met Jose is when they asked me to volunteer after the Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico. They needed somebody to set up a kitchen to go from 0 to 50,000 meals a day. And I was currently working at a corporation that I was doing massive production. So that was my thing. The first time I met Jose, the first thought that I had was like, I never want to be like that person. He seems, no. No. I have to be honest.
No, please. This is amazing.
But with the years of like working with him and getting to know him and understanding why, when I saw him, he had just came back with a meeting with FEMA. He was very frustrated because he couldn't get the funds to feed all the people that he wanted to feed. But my chef, narrow, ignorant mentality at that moment could not understand that. So I think the beautiful thing about having a mentor, and more in this industry, we have the new wave of chefs, the old school kind of chefs, is for you to find your way and who you want to be, having that as a guide, but not as a model. Because I think we all have to find ourselves with the help of our mentors. But yeah, for me, when I met Jose 7 years ago, first time I saw him, I was like, I will never want to be like that person because he screams a lot and everyone's scared of him. And I did not want to be that person. But, as I got to know him, of course, I admire him and I respect him a lot. But that's how he started for me.
That's fascinating. I've actually never heard that. So it's obviously a good tool. No one is perfect. So, yeah. Okay, now what's your Massimo story, Mattia?
My Massimo story is like, I believe that like is a process that Francescana want you to go through. So they want to see how persistent you are. And then like, you're gonna be ready maybe for Massimo. No, it's been like kind of like, not similar, but I sent my resume. I wanted to work for him so bad. Of course, like Massimo, if you talk about Italian kitchen, Italian cuisine around the world, is like the pioneer of this. And it was like, after like a few years, they actually like came back to me and they were like, oh, we kept your resume on the side and we're very curious to knowing you a little bit more. We have this beautiful project that is Osteria Florence. So I went to Francescana and they welcomed me like as a family. So I started to work with them first. I was just what Massimo actually, I think, really like is like to make sure you get along with everybody, not just with him. So when I started, I was like thinking already and see this in his mindset, like you need to be part of the family. Was very interesting because before to jump on the stage now, we were talking a little bit, me and Bernardo, sharing some of our experiences and like was so similar but different point of view. Because now like going through today, you're gonna see like the difference that we have and what we see in Massimo. But at the end, yes, like I think that we both still working for him because we still believe in what he's doing. Something new has to come every time. He's never enough. He always like looking, he's very curious. He's feed from curiosity, and that's, I believe, is the base of being a chef. So, like I always, like you want to be a child, your inner child have to be always present with you. So I think like that's one of the main reasons why I'm still next to support Massimo and Massimo supporting me, vice versa,
That actually is a good interlude into the next thing. So how do you find your own identity as a chef? Obviously, you guys have stayed put. You've opened your own thing. So I'm going to start with you, Mattia, because to affect the flow a little bit. Sure. But basically, how do you find your own identity as a chef when your mentor is such a big public figure? Does it affect how you see your own career?
Yes. So as I said, I started 8 years ago work for Massimo. And it's kind of like being married with someone, right? You don't really know the person, you just discover him like day after day. So you go through like some challenge as well. Where it's not always like everything like perfect. Sometimes like there are some point where like you are not agree, you don't share like the same idea. But of course, as a new person in his team, and like based on how much you believe in Massimo, you just listen to him. And at one point, you like based on that, and like on your every time you get like in your uncomfort zone, right? I feel like is when you start to challenge a little bit yourself and try to go over whatever you were convinced until like that point. So since then, I would say like since 8 years ago, we build a friendship, right? I start in Francescana as a, let's say, internship. Then I loved like to go around all the stations. And then at one point, Massimo was like, okay, I feel like now we are ready for having you as a second chef in Florence next to Karime. And that's how like my biggest journey started. So, it was like a daily, actually like a daily confrontation between me and him. We're like just sharing like ideas, and especially with Karim as well, of course. And then after like a couple of years, we achieved some great results at the Michelin star in Florence. Massimo probably saw like the effort we put in all this project, and he was like, I feel that now you're ready for your next step. So that's like one of the most interesting part, like that is if you think like about being a leader, and especially Massimo, he's always like under the light of everybody. But like what Massimo does is like just not only that, he's just helping you to be the next protagonist of whatever project it is, as happened for me in Beverly Hills now, and I'm sure as happening for Bernardo. Now he's gonna share what you have to say. But yes.
Yeah, no, that's the great point, because yes, we are working all for Massimo Bottura, but Torno Subito is going to be the result, of course, of Massimo's vision, but filtered by me. And this is happening in Los Angeles, in Florence, all the Gucci Osteria that are 4, Torno Subito is going to be 3. They are in some way very different from the other, because they are the reflection of the team, not just the chef. And I remember an exercise when I started in Osteria Francescana. It was like a month I was working there, and Massimo came in front of me and asked me, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Bernardo, chef." He said, "You don't have to answer. You have to cook for me. You have to tell your story. Who are you?" through a dish. And this is the most beautiful exercise I ever did in my life. How hard it is to tell where you're from, what's your passion, what you like, into a dish. So I remember exactly the recipe I did was a raviolo, putting together all the flavor of my city, Roma. And that was a big lesson for me as a mentor. And this is an exercise that I keep doing in every kitchen, when I need to hire someone, when we are all together in the kitchen. Who are you? Tell me who are you into a dish. And this is a big lesson that Massimo gave me as a mentor. Sometimes, cooking can be much more than word and just talking.
It sounds like it was a pivotal moment for sure. Chef Karla.
Well, I do not work with Jose anymore. I had the opportunity to work with him in his 2 different settings. So it was either a fine dining restaurant at the Bazaar or in a kitchen in the middle of a disaster zone somewhere in the world. So it was 2 different settings. I think both of them, really shaped me. As you know, when I talk about mentorship and what made me find what I wanted to do and what I wanted to represent and why I wanted to move from a fine dining to like, this is who I am, this is what I want to represent, and I'm going to believe in this because, Jose told me this one day, at the end of the day, people want good food. you know, and it doesn't have to be Michelin. It doesn't have to be this. You know, I remember cooking, we were, I think, in Haiti. Was it Haiti? And we had this issue with sandwiches, blah, blah, blah. And as my people think, you know, like, oh, yeah, you're cooking for disaster. These people don't have food. Give them whatever. No. You know, he turned to me and he's like, you know, it does not matter who you're cooking for. It does not matter what the setting, if they can pay you or not. You are a cook and you're here to service others. And if you're making a sandwich, it's going to be the best damn sandwich they're going to eat in their lives. And this is what you do. No matter what you do, find what you want to do and just do it very well. So for me, that was like, boom, you know, like, okay, what do I love? Who I am? I'm Mexican. You know, what made me fall in love with food? Summers with my grandmother at the farm. So what makes me excited to talk about? Farmers, Mexican food, everything. So that part of like mentorship of Jose kind of like shaping me into, without knowing that he was doing that. Because I love Jose, but no mentor wants you to leave him ever. And that's, I'm sorry, but that's a lie. If they tell you, I want you to go do your own thing, no, they don't. Because no, I mean, you're good, they want to keep you with them. That's the truth. And I mean, it is what it is. And at the beginning, it's always a struggle because if you find yourself being, I had a big struggle, you know, like a lot of people know me through World Central Kitchen, which I love, or a lot of people know me through Bazaar, and that's amazing. That's a part of my life. But it is very hard to separate yourself from that, you know, because also you're grateful for the opportunity, because if it wouldn't have been for Jose, I wouldn't have been able to go to these places, to cook at Bazaar, to have this exposure. But I also, you know, it is hard, you know, when you want to like, okay, I'm this, but I'm also this. And this is what I'm trying to
you're
do.
not leaving because you're unhappy. You're leaving because it's time to move on.
And as I say, I still work with the organization. But it is hard, you know. No good chef that is your mentor, and you're good with them, and you help them a lot, wants you to leave them, and they always make it hard for you to leave. And I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I don't want the good people to leave me, like, you know. So, but that's when you create that relationship, you know. Like what happened with me and Jose. I passed from being like I still respect him, you know. Yes, chef, like, but I'm never. The relationship is different. Now we have a good friendship, always based on respect, you know, like, and yeah, I think I mean, it is hard. It is.
And how do you work with him now?
I love Jose. You know, now, you know, I don't do Bazaar, but I set up most of the kitchens for World Central Kitchen, normally the biggest kitchens, and you know, and on his own way, he's been very supportive. You know, when somebody asks him about Miami, or you know, when his team is here, he's like, you have to go to Tacotomia, and you have to, you know, all of you guys go support Karla. All of you guys do this. He'll call me, hey, I'm in Miami, I cannot come, but all of the team is going. You know, like, it is a process. But I went through a process of 6 months where I know he was upset that I left, but not because he did not like me or he didn't want me to do good. He just was also grieving the loss of someone that was very close to him, and I went through that as well. But if I tell you something, like, if somebody, it is worth it. You know, it is worth it. It's a big step, but it is worth it, because then when you find yourself, and not that you don't, if you still work with someone, you know, but when you have that more freedom of like expressing what you want to express, being more who you are, you know, it's also hard because all of your mistakes are yours. Mm-hmm. You cannot be like, oh, you didn't like that, but oh, that's not my dish. That's Jose's. That's Jose. No, I can't say that. You know, it's a big change, but it is worth it. You know, it takes a little bit, but you know, if you do things right, from you know, being always honest, you know, always respecting the person, always respecting the process, I think it's worth it. So
thank you. I do want to start kind of pivoting the conversation to more of how you guys are going to be mentors, or already are, and your mentees. But before we do, I know we have some photos.
So the first one is when I was an intern in Osteria Francescana. As you see, we were like around 10 people. Imagine now there are 48 in the kitchen of Osteria Francescana. Yeah, the other one, me and Massimo, for a project we did in Istanbul, the 50 best 2016-2018 in Modena. This when I was in Franceschetta, the bistro of the Osteria Francescana. The next one, me and Massimo playing on the beach of Torno Subito in Dubai. And this is me and Massimo, I believe, here in Miami few weeks ago. So this, like, kind of putting together. And yeah, just that, different kind of experience. I understand what Karla says, but probably if I had to go in a next city to open a restaurant for Massimo that is just copy-paste recipe, lose myself in the everyday life, repeating, cutting vegetables and waiting recipe from a corporate office, I wouldn't stay here. So every group, every kind of work family has different stories. Again, I feel Torno Subito like my restaurant. I act exactly like I'm the owner of the restaurant. So
Amazing.
that's probably the difference. That is not right and wrong. It's just different realities.
You're feeling creatively stimulated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think we have a picture that what for me is being a mentor. I don't consider myself a mentor. I'm still on the beginning of my culinary trip, but there's something that left a special place in my heart when I was in Dubai. So the guy on the left is Willy. Willy was the dishwasher in W Hotel, the place where he was located, is located, Torno Subito. And in a big hotel you have external company to clean everything. And this guy was, so good, even better than some of the people in my kitchen, making sure everything is clean, perfectly maintained, and coming to me, chef, what I can do, teach me something. Okay, that's the picture of him crushing tomatoes for the pizza. And that is first task. And then I decided to hire him, and was not kind of possible for the HR director. I put together, the office in Italy, the GM, hotel manager, HR, everyone, and I was able to hire him. And in the middle, there's a picture of William when one day I said, okay, you are in charge of the service. This is the main pass where we plate everything. And when you call the order to your team. And it's in Dubai. From Commit 2 was promoted Commit 1, and then demi-chef, until chef de partie of main courses. He's taking care of the main course at Torno Subito. And a few months ago, I received a call from him. Hey, how are you? I became father. I said, what? This is fantastic. And I said, congratulations. What's his name? His name is Bernardo. And I said, no. Go immediately to the office and change the name. I'm sorry. I already registered this name. So there is a small, beautiful kid in a village in Kampala, the capital of Uganda, now with my name going around. And if I don't know if it's mentorship or not, but it's one of the most beautiful things
I hate to
ever
break it to you.
happened in my life. So,
Mentorship.
it's great. This is the first time I tell because it's so personal. I think my mom, my dad, and my brother know this, but talking about living mentorship is live something to people's life, and better than this, I can't ask anything.
Win-win.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. That was very cute. All right. Well, I know we have a few more pictures from Chef Mattia.
Yeah, well, these are like, well, we have Massimo, of course, but then we have one of the most important creation that we did, the Osteria, and it came out because of a joke between me and Massimo. Indeed, it's a risotto camouflage as a pizza, very Italian, of course. But Massimo never shared with me at the beginning about Beverly Hills project as a Osteria, but as a pizzeria. And I never did a pizza in my life, so I was very scared. I was like, Massimo, what are you talking about? And he was like, yes, you're gonna go in America and open a pizzeria. And I was like, well, I never did a pizza in my life, but that's your own risk. And Massimo, that's how it is. It's very from 1 minute to the other, change his mind. That's what's going to happen. Then after a couple of weeks, the CEO of Gucci called me, was like, Mattia, you ready for go to Beverly Hills? I was like, yes, Massimo told me about a pizzeria. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, no, it was like Gucci Osteria, but Beverly Hills. So I understood that Massimo was like pranking me, and I was like, okay. So when he's arrived, I like thought about the menu with the pizza. It was like a risotto. I had to say, Massimo, I did the pizza. And he was like kind of like upset. I was like, what do you mean I did the pizza? I was like, yes, you like told me to open a pizzeria. So I thought like a menu with a pizza. And he's like, no, you cannot do that because Gucci Osteria Florence is not meant to be pizza. You don't have the food, the fire oven as Torno Subito does. And I was like, no, I'm joking. It's a risotto, and that's like a good way, like where we get inspiration from a person as Massimo. What else? I always like think that what I love of Massimo is like the way that he loves to joke with all of us, as I was saying before. And every time he tastes something of the new menu for him, good is not good enough. So it's always something that is kind of, okay, you did this, but what can you do? How can you make it better? Or why you're doing this? So based on that is like how I'm like thinking and creating the dishes and the menu, exactly like working in this way, like joking. But then at one point, it's like when it start, we need to be serious and like be focused. It's like, okay, now that you did this, why? And it was like, because of the joke about the pizzeria. It was like, okay, so that's like, it can be even more important of what you are cooking is the message that you are bringing to the table, the experience you're offering to the guest. It cannot be only food, like we are offering an experience like an artist. He really believes like that each chef is an artist. He loves art, as you were saying before. But yes, like so that's like the story of this behind these pictures.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, all right. So I mentioned mentees, right? So this is going to be my last question for you guys, or second to last. We'll see. So first of all, do you have a mentee? And I think we don't need to hear from Chef Bernardo because we know that he doesn't, even though he does. And so do you have a mentee for Chef Mattia and Karla? And how do you plan to pass on the knowledge and values you've gained from your mentors to the next generation of chefs?
I go first? Okay. So I will say that like, yes and no. The team that is like there working for Gucci Osteria is working for me, like he's working for us as image, yes, but even like they're there because of me. So I believe, of course, there is like a part of this in each of like the member of my team. And for sure, like the best way I have people that are working with me, by the way, from like almost 10 years. Tamara, the pastry chef, and Vanessa, my second chef. If I have to say something about Vanessa, she just left after 7 years work next to me. And if I maybe connecting to what she was saying, I'm pretty proud of like this side of me. But when she say, I'm gonna leave he gave me like a long notice. But when she told me that, I was very happy for her. I just cried next to her, and I was like, I'm gonna miss you. I still missing her a lot. And I was like, if I can support you and helping you to whatever project you have, I'm here for you. Because like after 7 years work for me, is like what you want for me to like a person that you love is like the best for her, right? And like, how can you keep someone next to you, like forcing her? I can't see that next to me. I want to have like a person that like is grown next to me. She was my commis while I was the chef de partie. Then we went to Gucci Osteria. I was second chef. She was the chef de partie. And when I came to Gucci Osteria Beverly Hills, and I was like, yes, I want Tamara and Vanessa next to me. And Vanessa was actually my second chef. After a couple of years, she became like the other chef, was my alter ego, At one point, after like, 7, 8 years of experience together, I felt like it was time for her to change, to have something new. And how can I blame her? I was like, please, like follow your dream and just go for it.
So do you have a mentee?
I don't know, but I have my team that are amazing, and I think I see myself, a little bit of myself in every single one of them. I see the good parts of myself, I see the bad parts of myself, and maybe I think there's not the mentor, it's a both we learn from each other experience. I learn from them to be a better cook, a better lead, a better everything, and I hope they learn from me. One of the things for me is very important is the values. Why are you doing what you're doing? And it might sound, but be a good person. Just be a good person. Like teamwork, have integrity. For me, integrity is very important. I learned integrity with Jose. Jose, as I told you, he can be all chefs. I think they can have their character when they're mad, and you're like, whoa. But something that I love is like he cares. And when you're working with someone that no matter what, they have your back. When you have to work, you work. When you mess up, and there's consequences. But at the end of the day, you build a team with values, with trust, with, like, this is what we're doing. We're just not cooking. There's a reason why. There's a motive why. So I hope I can relate that, to my team, to everyone that I work with, and I learn from them every day. As I say, I think it's kind of like a mirror. I see a little bit of myself, the good and the bad, and yeah. So I think, yeah, my team. None of my team, when they started with me, were cooks. So a lot of them, a lot of them women, immigrant. They were not cooks. They were here looking for jobs. So I think part of also teaching people and okay, this is how we do it. It's a little harder, but now a couple of them want to go to culinary school. I have, so I think that's good. When
You've
you help
inspired them,
someone-
yeah.
When you help someone find a passion or but at the end of the day, it's about them and what's best for them and what's better for them, and yeah. So
As a woman chef, what recommendations do you have for all the challenges females face?
so I think, yes, there is challenges, but I'm also a believer that you set yourself of how you want to be seen. I think I've always been a hard believer on this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do. I treat myself with respect. I work with respect. I do not demand respect. I just do my job. I don't play, one day I don't play victim. I don't like, and yes, it is challenging in every industry, and I think it's challenging for women, for immigrant people, for minorities, but I do believe that we put ourselves we want to be seen, and it's not only because of who we are, it's how we act, how we talk to people, how we manage ourselves, how people see the integrity of work that we have. And instead of me standing up and demanding something, I just work and I do my thing. And of course, I don't let anyone disrespect me. Never do that. But yeah, so I just choose not to have or think of that. Kind of just focus on the goal.
So you said that the beginning, the people that were cooking for you weren't cooks. So when you were recruiting them, what was the thing that made you hire them?
This is one thing that I ask to everyone that went. It's crazy. When I do an interview, I ask, "Are you a good person?" If they ask, "Yes, I am super good," they're not that good.
That's a
but for me, what's important? Do you want to work? Do you want to learn? What is your goal? Maybe at the time they don't know, but I want I like humble people. You know, I like to work with people that they know they can learn every day. I learn every day. And if I see that there's someone that knows it all already, I'm sorry, I don't want to work with you. I don't care how successful or like talented you are. So for me, it's like, are you a good person? Do you want to work? And that's it. You know, I'll teach you the rest. It's gonna take us a little bit longer, but I think we as mentors is very important. Yeah, technique is great, and it takes years to get it. You know, also I'm not running a Michelin star restaurant. You know, I sell tacos. I'm not, you know, like
Yeah.
it will be very different. You know, harder to, you know. So no, but you know, like for me, I like to focus on the value of the person, because at the end of the day, those are the people that when you shit, they're gonna be like, I got you, chef. You know, like for me, that's what's very important. You know, somebody that wants to learn, somebody that really needs the job, somebody that really wants to grow, that wants to salir adelante, how you say in English, and yeah, so move forward.
Move forward.
Gracias.